Peace and blessings, family. It's your brother Juan Carlos Sex at Slate Stone Music Online. Welcome to the Plug Room, where you can plug your business, plug your brand. Here at the Plug Room, we are all about community development, which is building people and linking people with people. If you find value in the stream or broadcast, let us know in the comments wherever you may be watching this online. Or if you know someone who deserves to be in the Plug Room to share their story, their path, their journey, or their value, text the word network to 559-791-8468, and we'll have somebody reach out. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Plug Room. Today we have a brother who's going to be sharing with us his story, his journey, his path, some of what he does as a digital creator. And without any further delay, let me go ahead and bring up our brother Aidan X.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa
Peace
alaikum
be unto
salam,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Likewise. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fine, sir, by the grace of Allah. I'm
Yes, sir.
excited.
Yes, sir. I definitely am excited also, man. I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for this opportunity to learn more of who you are and all the work that you do. We're going to get into some of that. But in your own words, for those who may not have heard of Brother Aidan X or may not be aware of what you do, let the world know who Brother Aidan X is and what you're known for.
Yes, sir. I just first want to say thank you for your platform. Thank you for allowing me to be on here, your little brother. And I just want to say, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and I bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is his Christ. And what I do as an individual, or actually I don't work as an individual. I'm part of the Nation of Islam. I just recently officially registered, but the Nation of Islam has been something that's been in my life since I was 16 years old. So what I do is I create content. My mission is to raise the dead, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches. So I want to use that content to get as many people to be raised from the dead with the content through the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I share that content, and I have a podcast that I just started called The Processing Class, where I interview, the diamonds in the sand that you don't usually see, young people in the nation that you don't usually see that are doing the work, and I interview them, and I get their perspectives. And I also work with Brother Ben X, and I do content with him, and I if I don't know what else I really do. I do. I'm everywhere. I do original. I have a page called Original Thinkings, where that's where I started off before my personal page, where I share. I mix consciousness with culture. Because sometimes we don't always want to see the consciousness. Sometimes we want to see some culture. Sometimes we want to see some sports, and that's all right if we extract. You look at Muhammad Ali. He was in sports, but he was important. He was essential. Look at Brother Kyrie Irving. So what I did with Original Thinking is I tried to show um, the consciousness that was in sports and the consciousness that was in entertainment, mixed with the consciousness that's of course in the conscious community. So that's a little bit of what I do.
Yes, sir. A little bit of it, but it seems like a lot. And I can say from seeing the original thinkings content online and following that, and then along with you starting your new podcast, the processing class, which we will get into. My question is, Brother Aidan, what was the genesis of you becoming Brother Aidan X?
Yes, sir. So I grew up in a very white suburban neighborhood. I didn't grow up in a black, what's called the hood. I grew up in a very white suburban neighborhood. It's right outside of Las Vegas, called Henderson, Nevada. And it's a small little town, a small little Mormon town. Just now getting a little more color into it. You know what I'm saying? Getting them a little more black, a little more so-called Mexican. But when I grew up, it was all white. So I grew up being the only, pretty much, besides one other, which was my best friend, the only other black kid in my, or black child in my class. So growing up like that, I wasn't raised. My dad wanted to raise me in what he thought it was the safest environment, what was the best schools, which I don't fault him for that. You know, looking back and having my own children now, he did the best that he knew. So I grew up. He didn't teach me about race or, race. He didn't teach me about Black history because in his mind, he thought racism and all that was over. So he just wanted me to grow up as a normal child. So I didn't have any really knowledge of self growing up. I If you would have told me I'd be right here, I would have told you no, because I really didn't have any interest in black people growing up. I just wanted to do my thing. But it wasn't until I got older, and really experiencing, the wickedness. I started to, I wasn't that cute little child anymore. I started, you know, things started switching up. So when I got into school, in elementary school, you're being yourself when you're in elementary school. You're happy, you're getting good grades, you're learning. And then when I got into middle school, it was a switch, because just like Malcolm X, just like it seems like with every whenever there's greatness in somebody, it seems like you always got that one teacher or that somebody in your life that's trying to extract that. So when I was coming into middle school, I had teachers tell me I wasn't going to be anything. I had a teacher tell me I'm never going to be anything because who wants to hire a clown? That's what he told me, because I was a class clown. I always like to be the center of attention. So even what I'm doing right now with content creating, I always had YouTube channels in elementary school. I had a YouTube channel in fourth, fifth grade where I was recording myself doing skits, where I was, but I was doing stuff more on an ignorant level, not on the teachings like I'm doing now. So I always like to be the center of attention. I always like to make everyone smile. I always like to make everyone laugh. And this one this one teacher, he told me, he said, "Man, you ain't never gonna be nothing because ain't nobody gonna be around no clown." Then I had another teacher tell me, "You never gonna be nothing because you can't focus." So that led me down a spiral of, you know, if my teachers don't believe in me, why do the work? So my grades began to fall. I started slowly going down, and I ended up being an all F student in school. All F's because not because I was doing the work, because I literally wouldn't do the work. The teacher would literally skip my desk because they knew I wasn't going to do the work. I didn't see the purpose, and that's when my depression started coming in through my freshman year and my sophomore year of high school, because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I wasn't getting excited when the teacher was giving me my graduation plans of going to get this degree so I can work for somebody. That never made sense to me. Going to school, I'm going to school right now, learning nothing. I didn't know how Shakespeare was called. I was signed up for a college and career ready diploma, but we were studying Shakespeare, and I didn't know how that was making me college and career ready. You
Right.
know, my teachers didn't understand. I wanted to be. I saw people like DDG on YouTube. I saw people, my favorite YouTubers, So Illuminati, and them making money already at 19, already buying, an i8 at 19. So, and I saw them grinding, and I was thinking in my mind, if I grind like that, can I do it? Is he? He's no better than me. But my teacher, I had this one teacher that prohibitively went in front of the class and told me being a YouTuber, being a content creator is impossible. That's what she told me. She said I might as well flip some burgers at Burger King. So I
Mhm.
always had teachers, and they were devils, of course. I always had teachers that was trying to prohibit my path. So that began to make me skip school. I had over 150 absences um, I think at the end of my freshman year, no, at the end of my sophomore year, um, and I had over like 70 absences at the end of my freshman year. So I was definitely not feeling school anymore. I wasn't hanging with my same friends, and I was fighting with my dad, um, cursing him out and being disrespectful because he was wondering what was going on. Why wasn't I in school? Why wasn't I getting good grades? Why wasn't I doing my work? But it wasn't until one day. It was one day when I was skipping school. I came across this Malcolm X tape, and he was just teaching. It was just on the phone, just like the content that I make now. And it was a small little Malcolm X tape, and I had never heard of Malcolm X before. I wasn't taught about him in school, because when I was in school, I was taught about Honest Abe and how he never told a lie, how Abraham Lincoln never told a lie. I never was told about Malcolm X. Forget about Farrakhan. So when I saw him teaching, and he was teaching and talking about, we don't like our skin color, we don't like our nose, we don't like our hair, and I felt like he was talking to me because I didn't like any of those things. I didn't even want to be called black when I was growing up in school. I used to say, man, I'm mixed, man. Don't call me that. So when he was talking to me, he was speaking to that self hatred, um, and he made me just go in a spiral of looking up all his lectures. I ended up literally watching every lecture of Malcolm X at home, still skipping school. So after that, I began to say, okay, I studied Malcolm X, and I know all the controversy that's happening with his teacher, but if Malcolm X is this smart, I want to study his teacher. So I began first time reading it for the first time ever, because I had never read a book since second grade before this. And I read Message to the Black Man in America. And man, that book blew my mind. So I had went back to school. I had in my mind, if I wasn't going to college, that's fine, but I wanted to make my dad proud, because he worked so hard to raise me, and I just wanted to show him that it's not because I'm stupid that I can get good grades. So I came back to school after reading Message to the Black Man. I shaved off my hair. I had a high top. I wanted to look like a FOI, even though I didn't write my letter. I didn't know that to join the nation you had to write a letter. I just thought you just start acting it. So I just started acting like an FOI and studying it. And I went to school, and I ended up having a 4.0 GPA, just because of the teachings. Because when I was in science class, I said, "Oh, I'm using chemistry class now. Maybe I'm gonna use this knowledge to build my own nation." And when I was in history class, I said, "I'm gonna use this against them, and I'm gonna try to ask the teacher about the teachings, and I bet she can't dispute it." When I was in English class, I said, "I'm gonna use this so I can be able to have the language to talk to my people." So I kind of, just from hearing Malcolm X, I read pretty much the whole dictionary. I did everything he did. I looked up all the books that he read, and I read them. Um, when I was reading the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I stumbled onto the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I was at first I was reading his when he was talking about education and we're being miseducated, and all that stuff resonated with me because I felt the same way. We're being miseducated, and I didn't get into the religion and Islam. Believe it or not, I skipped those chapters, even though now I look at it as the most important chapters. I skipped who is that mystery God, because I was an atheist at the time. I didn't have no interest in believing in God. I always saw the church, and I always thought they were goofy. So I didn't have no interest in believing on Allah or God or anybody. So I skipped those chapters. But then when I read Message to Black Man the second time, I said, all right, let me just see what he's talking about. And man, he answered every question I had about God. And I went to my dad, man, and he was even dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say to it, man. When he was talking about who is that mystery God, when he was breaking it down in mathematics. So I never had seen that before. I had never seen anyone break down God in such, or Allah in such mathematics and scientific,
Right.
formula. I was dumbfounded. So when I had gotten to that, man, I said, man, if I ever do religion, I want to do it like them, you know. That's what I told myself, and I studied more, and I bought a Quran, and I read that um, Islam is not a religion, but it's the nature of us, in the nature in which we were created. So that made sense to me. I always thought like, I don't I want to be what's my nature. I don't want to follow the Pope. I don't want to follow some Mormons that used to knock on my door every day. I wanted to follow what was my nature, and he answered those questions. The teachings has answered those questions for me. It gave me a purpose, because I didn't want to live at a certain point when I was in freshman, sophomore year, skipping school. Before I found that Malcolm X tape, I was just sitting on the curb. I used to get my skateboard, and I was just wasting my life. I didn't see a purpose in life, because school didn't present it to me, and my father didn't have the resources to present it to me. So the teachings really did that for me, and I ended up joining the debate team like Malcolm X was in prison. And I actually, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I probably would have made it to nationals. Just using, I didn't use all this fancy research that everyone else in my around me was from these private schools. I was beating them with Message to the Black Man. You had people, man, in speech and debate since kindergarten. You had people from preparatory schools. You had people from these private schools with the tuition was more than our house. And I was whooping them, with the help of Allah, with Message to the Black Man, with just one book from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
And they couldn't dispute it. They couldn't dispute it. Every time I went up there, man, there was sometimes they called me racist. You always had them one judges,
Yeah.
but on a major scale, man, I had white people come up to me and say, "Wow, I can't dispute the facts." You know, from that book, from the Elijah Muhammad book, I can't dispute the facts. That's what they'll tell me.
Right.
You know, so and you had people, man, with 5.0 GPAs, and man, they thought I was the smartest person in the school, and they didn't even know that just last year I was an all F student.
Yeah.
And that's because that's the teachings, man. It really shines a light on you, even on the darkest person. So that's what led me to my path. And in the pandemic, I met girlfriend, but soon to be wife. And she had the idea of me starting a page, and that ended up to be Original Thinkings. And Original Thinkings was actually just meant for me to show her the teachings without showing her the long lectures. And I just happened to post it on Instagram and YouTube, so she can watch them. And people, I guess other people started watching them. And I ended up having over, I think it was like, when they terminated Original Thinkings, by the way. But last time I checked, it was 36 million total views. And I had like a few videos. The Claude Anderson one, I had a Minister Farrakhan one, and it had 1 million views. And I was the first one of the first ones to post the Swan song, and that's what I believe made them terminate me,
Yeah.
because that I made 75 clips from the Swan song so young people could watch it, and they didn't like that. And if you look up what's the 75th chapter of the Quran, that's resurrection. So
Yeah.
and the devil didn't want that. So they took down Original Thinkings. And lately, right after that, I started a podcast. Right now, I'm working on my personal brand, or Brother Aidan, but Original Thinkings will be back soon. But that's my genesis, as you will. A little short story. I know I was rambling a little bit.
Nah, you good. You shed some light on it
Yeah.
for us, and you touched a lot of different points. Being one that kind of stuck out to me, the educational system and them having that system of learn, memorize, repeat. You know what I mean? It's really not that their aim and purpose for you is what they want you to do. Learn this, memorize it, repeat it. Nothing else. And that doesn't give us anything. If once for those that can catch it, like, nah, this ain't what I want to do. This ain't what I want to learn. It doesn't interest me. Why am I doing this? So and some other things too that you mentioned, but we're not getting to that. So that being your genesis into Brother Aidan X, coming across Malcolm, going through those things, those trials in school, finding your way, brought you up to Original Thinkings. And now you mentioned you recently officially registered in the nation, and you have a podcast called The Processing Class. What inspired you, or what was the motivating factor for you to create the Processing Class podcast?
Yes, sir. It was just me, cause I'm at Mars 75 in Las Vegas, and I'm the youngest one there. Uh, so just being, and I go on YouTube, and the Nation of Islam's presence is there, but it is very older. The guys that usually have YouTube channels that's registered in the nation are usually 40s, 50s, around that age range. And I said, man, we don't got any young guys on there. I see them on Instagram. I see all the young guys on Instagram. I see Brother Nas. I see Brother Nas on there. I see them all, but I'm like, man, how come no one's interviewing them? How come no one's interviewing? The only young person on YouTube is Brother Ben. And you see Reza, of course. But I wanted to show these other pages that have 200 followers, 300 followers, and these brothers are teaching on their thing. So I said, man, I want to make my own podcast, and I want to ask them questions that I never asked them, that I never hear anyone ask them. A lot of the podcasts are very, very, very wise. I'm not gonna say they don't be bringing that knowledge, because without those pages that I'm talking about, I wouldn't be where I'm at. But are they gonna attract, Ray J, in the school that's, 17, 15 years old, where his favorite rapper is Polo G? I said I want to be the righteous Polo G for them. I want to be the righteous NLE Chopper for them, where they can come on, and I want to be in their mind. I want to ask the brothers questions that no one asked them. Why did you join the nation? What, you don't think it was too much discipline? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? You don't miss chasing women, honestly? I want to ask them questions that no one asked, not trying to, asking them, that's a nice bow tie you got on.
yeah,
That's not, no one wants to hear that.
right.
That's never been the nation. Oh, how many FCN you sell today? That's not stuff that, the lost found my age is going to be interested in. So I wanted to have a different perspective with the processing class, and really fish people in with questions that make sense to them, because I remember being in that spot, and I had these same questions, and I had to go to the mosque to ask. Not everyone may make that choice, so I wanted to make it accessible from their phone and from their laptop to have these questions answered. So that's what made me start the processing class, and I called it the processing class because we're all in the process at the end of the day. Even us registered, we're still processing, because we still are striving Muslims, and that's a process. And we don't really end that process in life until we die. So I called it the processing class. Of course, after the processing class that you come into before you are fully registered Muslim in the Nation of Islam. So I thought that would be a good idea to have everybody. I want to have registered people on there. I want to have people that's not even in the nation. I want to have people that's strippers, prostitutes, gang bangers, drug dealers. I want to have everybody on there, and ask the questions that everybody's asking. And
Yeah,
not act like I rose from heaven. And not acting like I'm better than because I got a pin on my and I'm wearing a bow tie. This represents service, so we need to do service for our people, and that's what I intend with the processing class.
yes, sir. A great service indeed. And to me, just you sharing that, not that my opinion matters, but I think that that's a great lane and avenue, an idea that Allah gave you to implement. That's needed. That service in that aspect, with everybody having a podcast in 2022, it seems like, or more people doing it, or more people giving their commentary. Out of all that, you are coming with that lane, which is a very unique lane. You know what I mean? So that's tight, man. Now, you mentioned earlier in your interview you had been on YouTube at a very young age. I think you mentioned elementary, doing just doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
My question is, how long have you been in the digital creation um, mode, and at what point did you actually focus up in that aspect?
Yes, sir. I've been making content since around fourth and fifth grade. My favorite YouTubers at the time was like KSI. So that was my type of content. KSI, and then people that would play NBA 2K. So I I have friends that hit me up today. They said I knew you was gonna do what you're doing now because you always was grinding. I always was grinding with YouTube. I never really was not grinding. I would take, sometimes breaks when school was around, but I always when I was doing YouTube, I did it every day. I always had the intention of this is what I want to do for my life. Even when I told my dad in fifth grade, I said this is what I want to do with my life. Even when people didn't believe me, I didn't care. So with my first channel in around elementary school, it was called The Greatest YT, and I would make skits where I was, I would do the basic, racist humor of, I was chasing KFC, and because I was lost,
Yeah,
I was lost. I didn't have a knowledge of self, so I would do that, type of humor, the corny stuff when I was in elementary school, what I thought was funny at the time. I would do the NBA 2K videos and those type of videos, and I would post them every day. And but Allah had a different plan for me. He didn't want me to be an entertainer. He didn't want me to be a sing and dance because it felt like, man, it came to a point I I did have some doubt because my page wasn't growing. Even though I kept posting consistently on the greatest YT, that didn't work. So I said, all right, let me start a new channel. And I started at this channel called Aidan, and I posted the same type of content. It was a little more mature because I was in middle school, but on a large scope, it was the same type of content. And that didn't grow. So I said, all right, man, dang. So I got into high school, and this was my, I guess my gangster phase or whatever. And I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to, I wanted to be like DDG, and I wanted to vlog and rap and you know, um, do all of that. So I had this channel called, my rap name was Boyaga. Boyaga because boy, I guess I was a boy and I liked Balenciaga. I thought that was cool. I thought
right.
I thought designer brands and all that was that was my Allah at the time.
Yeah,
So had there I was rapping on there and doing my thing on there, and that didn't grow. So that's when I finally stumbled upon, not stumbled upon, but I was shed the light to Malcolm X, and I was shed the light to the nation and all that. So I started Original Thinkings, and I just started Original Thinkings. I said I'm not gonna, um, I'm just gonna grow. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm just gonna grow slowly. And remember, I was just doing it to show my queen, the teachings. So I didn't have no intention with it, and Allah just he just exploded the page because man, I had Nuri Muhammad, student minister brother Nuri Muhammad reposting. I had sister, Ava Muhammad post. I had, people from Anthony Browder, from, Kaba Kameen, and I had all these people sharing. I had Yar Shahidi
yeah,
from Blackish sharing this stuff. I had people from all walks of life sharing it. Um, Carrie Hilson. Um, I forgot the one rapper. I had some rappers sharing it. It was just crazy, and I was like, wow. I was like, they're sharing the minister and sharing, you know, um, not sing and dance, and then I began to post them on TikTok, man, and TikTok just blew them up. I was getting 500,000 views, showing the Nation of Islam drilling. People like that. Believe it or not, people like that. That's what I
yeah,
try to tell the mosques and stuff. Post a video of y'all drilling because the youth likes that. My generation, we like that. Because it shows we never grew up with discipline, so it shows something different. You know, so it just began blowing up. Original Thinkings blew up on YouTube. man, I was getting 10,000 subscribers like every month. And I was like, wow,
Right.
my other channels, I never went past 500. So, but in my mind, I didn't care about that. I just wanted to impact people. And I think that's why Allah increased the value, because I really, my first, I ain't gonna lie to you, my first one, my other channels, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to be rich. With this one, I wanted to impact, and how Brother Ben X says, impact over income, because you focus on the impact and the income will come. So I focused on the impact. I just wanted to help as many people go on that path that I did, of discovering themselves and really starting them. That's the thing I always tell people: you're not teaching them the knowledge, you're you're trying to make them love themselves. You're not showing people you're not showing people information. You're not showing people wisdom. You're really showing them how to love themselves. Because I always use this example. You see people that love their car, right? They ain't gonna let anyone scratch it up. They ain't gonna let anyone get it dirty. They're not gonna let anyone mess up the seats. They always make sure, and they don't take their car just to anyone. They take it to a specialist. In whatever car they have, they don't just put whatever in their car. They put that premium. You know, but for themselves, they go eat whatever is around the corner. For themselves, they put whatever in their body, alcohol, they put whatever medicine in their body without asking questions. They put vaccines in their body without asking questions. It's because they don't love themselves. A lot of us like ourselves, but we don't love ourselves. And my goal with original thinkings is to make you love yourself without putting it down your throat. So on my original thinkings, I post rappers, I post entertainers, I post LeBron James, because I know you. Let's be honest. We're the dead, so we don't want to see. We're not going to have a Farrakhan timeline overnight. So
Right.
I like to put it in. I like to put the medicine in the dog food, as you will, with original thinkings. And after original thinkings, I started Brother Aidan, and same thing. Brother Aidan has just been uh, growing fast, and but with the help of Allah, it will continue to grow. Not for me, but so I can impact as many people as I can, because that's the purpose to my life, and that's the reason I live.
Yes, sir. Aim and purpose, and it will grow, man, with what you're doing, and with the help of Allah, uh, you will do those things. Now, you kind of touched on your why, but if you could, if somebody lost found came up to you, somebody that just happened to come across your original thinkings content or across line, or seen the brother Aidan X, and they said, "Man, why do you do what you do? What's your why?" What would your answer or response to them be?
Well, I do what I do because um, my goal is to raise the dead and better my community. I saw what it felt like to not want to live. I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with even suicidal thoughts, because of living in this world, and I see what this world has done to many people. That's one thing that the teachings has done for me. It's made me understand the issue. I used to be mad at my mom because she wasn't really in my life, but I look at it now and I see it's because of this world. We can't blame our parents. Of course, they're grown men and grown women, but we're not really presented with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be able to be functional parents, to be able to be functional, functional men and women. Just in society, we're turned backwards. We're turned inside out. We can't when you can't even wear your pants right. How can, if we can't even do the small things, how can we do the big things?
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is, why is I want to raise the dead with the help and the permission of Allah, with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, without preaching to them, without making it preachy, without making it seem boring. I like to show them that, hey, you can still have fun, you know being an upright, righteous, Muslim, which is your nature. You can still smile. You can still laugh. I love those things. I
Yeah.
love comedy, but I like to keep it clean now, because I don't like. Again, it starts with that love of self. that love of self. The why is I want people to love themselves, because when you love yourself, then you love the God that created you.
Yes, sir.
So
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. So that's really it. That's really my why. I want you to love yourself so you can love the God that created you, and you can love your brother like you love yourself, and we can build for self after we begin to love ourselves.
Yes, sir. Now, I understand, when you say raise the dead, that you want to raise the dead. But for those in your age category, or those who may not be familiar with that, or those who may come from the mind frame that you used to be of, and myself, that, an atheist type mind frame, like I don't believe in none of that. And you say, I want to raise the dead. What do you mean? You gonna go out here and do some magic and pull somebody out the grave? What you mean raise the dead? What you talking about, man?
Well, we certainly not literally raising the dead. I'm not raising grandmama and them up. That's not what I that's not my goal. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Miss Louis Farrakhan, they teaches that our people are dead mentally. First, to understand the dead, you have to understand what's the stages of death. We die spiritually, we die mentally, we die economically, we die morally. um, Looking at our people, looking at the black community, we have $1.1 trillion in spending power, but yet we're the poorest people of all race groups in America. So wouldn't you say we're dead economically? Because we don't build nothing for self. You go in our neighborhoods, how many black businesses do you see? you know and probably half of them are probably from the Muslims that you talk about, them bean pie brothers that you're talking about. So how we have $1.1 trillion in spending power, but we give all our brain power to the enemy. We give all our talent to the enemy. We give all our work ethic to the enemy. The only thing that the black community is really producing right now, outside of course, there's brothers striving right now, the hereafter, and you see, but on a large scale, what black people produce is sweat, as brother Dr. Claude Anderson said. We produce sweat from basketball, from softball, from baseball, from boxing, and that's what we do. So we're dead economically because we are not producing our own needs. We don't produce our own food. We don't do import and export. We rely on the enemy for everything, and that's why I liken ourselves to a baby. I have a 8 9 month old baby, and what we do for him is we feed him, we clothe him, we shelter him. When he needs his sippy cup, we get him his sippy cup. Look at the black community. Can we not liken it to a baby? The white man, he feeds us. We don't feed ourselves. We go right down to Chipotle, or we go right down to Walmart, and we get us that big old ham, that big old piece of ham, and we go put it on the oven, and we don't know where it came from. We
Right.
don't know what's inside of it. We just say, man, I'm just trying to get something cheap and easy, because
Yeah.
that's how we see ourselves. So right there, just with that mentality, cheap and easy, can you not say we dead mentally? Because why would you want to put something cheap and easy in the God's temple?
Right.
Then you go to church, and then you say, man, don't push over the seats. Don't mess up the church seats. Don't come up there. That's the altar. So we're dead mentally because we put more value on buildings built by probably, damaged men, construction workers, that probably don't have, what I'm saying, much
Yeah.
regard for themselves at all. And we regard that more than ourselves. So we're dead mentally. We're dead spiritually. We worship a mystery God. We say, man, I'm doing this so I can go to heaven. Or Jesus died for our sins so I can sin some more. So we're dead spiritually. So when I say I'm raising the dead, I'm trying to raise my people mentally. I'm trying to raise my people economically, and I'm trying to raise my people spiritually. Um, so that way we don't go down physically, and I can't raise you anymore after that, with
Right.
the help of Allah. So that's just a little bit of what I mean when I'm saying I'm raising the dead. It's just the decadent and very degrading way that we're living as a community. We degrade our women, we unclothe her, we we call her the B word. We call her, we're chasing hoes and money, and because we don't love ourselves and we don't know ourselves. So I'm trying to teach with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and with the help of Allah, that black man, you're not a thug, you're not a killer, but you really a God. You're really a savior. That's your nature. You ever look at a so-called nigga and they're angry, they're depressed because deep down inside you know that's not your purpose. When I was an all left student, I knew deep down, taking naps in class, I knew this wasn't my purpose. But brother, you a sleeping giant, and that's why the white man don't want us to wake up, because he's afraid of losing that dead meat, that he can leech off of
Yeah.
forever. But what I'm trying to do with the help of Allah, we're trying to raise the dead, and we're trying to raise us from the state of degradation, from humiliation, and hopefully we can be a nation of black men and women and build a new world order that will last forever, because it won't be built on raping and the killing and the enslaving of innocent people. So
Yes,
that's it.
sir. Yes, sir. Now, how do you, brother Aiden X, uh, the digital work you do, the teachings that you live by and share on and offline, how do you give to the community? How do you give back?
Yes, sir. One way I give back right now is I try to give back in my content and my time. Um, right now, if you looked at me, you probably would think I have some some lumps of money, but really, right now, I'm where Brother Ben X was when he started off. I'm not the richest man, but I feel like the richest man because every day I'm thanking Allah for what He's given me, and it's a lot. I have two gifts on my head right now, which is my eyes. I have a nose, I have a spine, I have a body. So I feel rich, but right now, economically, I'm not where I'm wanting to be, but I see growth, and I see like the minister says, I see faith plus works. So when it comes to charity, I do give as much as I can with charity. Trying to build my trying to build a nation for self. I give back a lot of my merch with our story over his story. I even try to give brothers free merch because um because it's the message on there. When someone else sees you with the minister, you don't know if that can open a seed for somebody else. Um, and with the content saved my life. Just seeing that Malcolm X tape. So the biggest way I try to get back is with content, showing clips of lectures, because a lot of young people ain't gonna watch the full 5 hours Swan Song. That's just the reality of what it is. So I try to make clips out of it, and I try to make them 1 minute, 30 seconds. Enough that would hold their attention. Because if you look at TikTok and all the twerking that's on there. We can complain all day that the internet and social media is negative. I hear it all the time. Social media is bad for relationships. Social media is this. Social media is nasty. I gotta fast from social media because it's this. But we can make it what we want to be. We can control what we see with what we put out. Because what you put out is what you get in. So I try to put out righteousness, and I try to show sisters like Ava, sisters like brothers like Nuri, uh, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, even when brother Malcolm clips when he was registered in the nation and he was teaching his thing. Um, so I try to give back with showing them knowledge that the enemy will not teach them in school.
Yeah, indeed, man. And that is giving back, man. Just planting those seeds, that 1 minute clip, that 30-second clip can plant a seed to flourish. As even you said, you watched a clip of Malcolm, and now look what it's brought you through the different pages, digital creation, being registered, digging deeper, gaining that knowledge of self, studying more. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, just that seed, from that clip. So, that community work is needed. How important is networking to Brother Aidan X, the processing class, and your digital creation as a whole?
It was very important because um, if, if you can't reach out to the people, and if you can't reach out, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, get with like mind individuals. So we can't do it by ourselves. I've seen it before. I seen my dad try to run his whole business by yourself. It's very hard to run anything by yourself. If it takes a village to raise a child, I think it takes a village to also raise, and I would think it takes a village to raise a nation too. And we're nation building. We're not trying to make, excuse my language, a nigger organization. We're trying to build a nation. So networking is very important because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, study the white man. What does the white man do? He's an ambassador for his nation. And he gets together with like-minded individuals who want to conquer. Historically, he's gotten with people who also want to conquer, who also want to kill and murder and torture and rape. And he's gotten together with them and he's been successful. He got with people and said, hey, we need to take their names, we need to take their language, we need to take their culture. These niggas over there, we need to get them. They building up pyramids over there. They got Timbuktu. They got libraries of knowledge, so we can get these niggas to build us in our world. We can build our. We know heaven ain't up there. We can build our heaven on earth, Bob. And that's how they built the nation. So we can do it with righteousness. We can do it with this wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And if we call ourselves gods, I hear this all the time, and brothers complain about working with their people for 2 minutes. Man, it's so hard working with our people, man. You got a lot of work to do, but we call ourselves gods. And if the devil worked this hard to make us so deaf, dumb, and blind, we can't work harder to educate our people. We can't get with like-minded individuals and put away our ego and put away that, oh, I want to be the man. I want to be the man in every room that I'm in. We can't be a student. I hear a lot of people diss the nation because they call us, some cult or something. No, we're students. We can't be a good teacher if you're not a good student. So and being a good student is following the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he is successful in building a nation. He is successful in resurrecting our people. So getting with, as you call it, networking, is very essential for the process of nation building and raising the dead.
Yes, sir. Very essential. Well, I want to say thank you, brother, for your time. Thank you for sharing your value, your growth, your journey, your path. Before we end this plug room, share with the people where they can plug your business, where they can find you, plug your business, plug your brand, plug your channels, and then we'll wrap it up.
You can find me on every social media platform with the username Brother Aidan X. That's AIDAN. It's pronounced Aidan X, Brother Aidan X, on all platforms, on YouTube, Brother Aidan X, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, same way. You can also buy. I'm starting my luxury brand back up. My luxury designer brand called Top God. It's coming back. We're gonna have a new spring and summer collection coming up. So you can buy from us. You shop Gucci, you can shop Louis, but let's shop our own. And let's be Top Gods. So Top God will be coming out. Our story over his story. That's a merchandise that I also have, where we sell conscious merch that you can wear. Minister hoodies and t-shirts will be coming out. New designs will be coming out. So stay tuned for that. And you can also tune into the processing class that's posted daily. And if you're interested in being a guest, you can DM me on Instagram or Facebook, or you can also email me at info 12th power 12th power at gmail.com. And you can also find me at Original Thinkings. And that's on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok.
Yes, sir. Well, again, thank you, brother, for your time, gratitude, Ramadan Mubarak. You know,
Ramadan Kareem.
yes, sir, and thank you for this plug room, man, and continue striving, continue doing the work you're doing for the youth, for yourself, in service to the nation and to our people. It's much appreciated, and that's it, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Continue to follow Brother Aidan X in his journey and his path. As we say all the time on the plug room, measure yourself to yourself, not to what to others have done. Always strive to be better tomorrow. Do you, be honest, be creative, and stay 1000. I am your brother, Juan Carlos X. This is the plug room where you can plug your business, plug your brand. Peace.